Okay. Hi everyone. Good morning. So today and now we are going to discuss about the topics like SQL Server, what is the table, what is view, what is stored procedure, how we can use it in the real time. All these topics we can discuss from the beginning. So the first thing before doing that one, so first we need to install the SQL Server Management Studio, which is this one. So once we can install this one, then we can start working on that. Okay, maybe in the upcoming sessions I'll go and tell about how we can no need to install this SQL Server into your local machine. We can try practice the SQL queries in the online itself after creating some tables. I can let you know that, but for now I can explain you how we can work in the SSMS from the beginner concept to the advanced level. So for that purpose, first we need to connect to the SQL Server Management Studio. For now, I just created this particular server in my local server. So I'm just going to connect with my Windows authentication. So this kind of authentication we need to configure while installing this particular software. So we need to select which server we need it. We can select and then we can connect this one. And now once we can connect, these are all the, since I was taken this SQL Express edition, so these are all the default objects was available in this particular thing. So if I expand the databases, we can see what are all the system databases. For now I'll just delete this one. I'll just show you how we can create data. So sometime back I just created it. So in the initial view, if I refresh this one, then what and all was available means only the system databases are available. So what is database? Okay, so the database means whatever the work we are going to work on. Okay, the data is going to store into the particular database. For example, we have multiple departments in the company. For example, HR department is the one, finance department, also some accounting, some chart, some accounting, and then okay, so these are for example, we have these three departments with right now. So we want to create all the HR human resources data into the one database, finance related data into the one database, and then accounting data into the one database. For that purpose, if you have large volumes of data, and then we can divide the data into the databases within the server, and then we can store it here. That is how we can create the database. So by default, these are all the system defined databases. One is master, Moodle, MSDB, TempDB. These are the system defined databases. If you want to create any database, then we can create two ways actually. So one is create option, create database. Database name is HR. Okay, so this is my database. Simply I'll just execute it. Okay, now since the commands completed successfully, then if I right click and then refresh this one, then I could see this HR database. Okay, now if I want to create one more department, that is like finance, then I'll just create database syntax, create database name, the database name. So then if I execute this one, then this particular database was created over here. So just go to the databases and then refresh. Okay, then after that we can see the finance databases as well. Okay, once we can open these databases, then we can see what are all the primary objects was available in this particular database. Okay, so these are all the common, and then constant the folders was over here. One is database diagrams, tables, views, synonyms, programmability, server, service broker, storage, security. So these are all the options was available. Okay, now what we are going to I can brief out the first thing is the tables, views, programmability, and then synonyms. First thing we can discuss about this one, later we can come to the diagrams. So since if I explain now itself, it is not going to you are not going to understand everything clearly. Okay, now right now we are in the master database. Okay, but now I'm going to work on the HR database. Okay, so for that purpose, if I want to switch it to HR database, I'll just drag and drop over here and then select the HR. Okay, then we will go automatically to that particular database. Then now I am going to create the table. Okay, the table means what is the table? Okay, the table is the primary object, SQL Server object in the SQL Server, where it will store the data in the form of rows and columns. Whatever data we can store in the table, that will physically exist. Means it is going to, like, the solid data is going to sit onto the table. As soon as we select the data from this table, every time it is going to retrieve the data and then given data to the users. Okay, so that is the basic table. Okay, now views. Okay, what is the view means? For example, table is the physical object, okay, whereas view is the virtual object. Okay, now so if I create the data stored in database. Okay, okay, so what is the view means? View is the virtual object. Okay, the view itself, it cannot hold any data. Okay, so how we can write the view means create the view. So it will create the view as, okay, then select star from the physical tables. Okay, physical table means the table name. Okay, so whatever data was available in the tables, that is going to sit into this particular view. So it is not physically exist, it is a virtual table. The view means it is a virtual table. Okay, so that is the basic definition about the table and view. Okay, now if we go to the synonyms, for example, in my HR, in my finance tables, I have something like my table name is bank account, something like that. Okay, in this we have some user ID, username, password, email and phone number. So all these are the tables. Okay, now bank account means my table name which contains all this information. But what I'm going to do, like, so while displaying data into the end user, then I'm going to rename this as a, like, I'll just give this as a user details. Okay, now so the behind table name is this one, but while displaying we are going to give this as a user details. So now we are going to give the synonym, means this is an alternative name to the objects, whether it is a table, whether it is a column. For example, here we have the column, then I'm just going to give just ID. Okay, as is this command, we can use a syntax and then ID. So for this particular column, I'm just going to give ID as alias name. That is a synonym for this particular user ID. Bank ID is my table name. What is a synonym means? Table. So these are the alternative names. Okay. So that is about the synonyms. Now next, the programmability. In the programmability means these are the basic the things in the SQL Server. These are the advanced concepts. Okay, so that is stored procedure is very important concept in the SQL Server. Also the functions, also the database triggers, what all the triggers are available. So if you open this one, everything, like, nothing was there. Why? Because whatever the system defined stored procedure or system defined functions, those are available. So in the triggers pane, you can't see anything. It is an empty folder. Why? Because nothing was created yet. But in the going forward, if we create anything like that, then we can see it. Okay, that is the most things. Okay, we can discuss everything in detail in the coming sessions. Now, so I'll just show you like how we can create a table. Okay, create table name. What is my table name? Is a student. Okay, student is my table name. Okay, create table name. So in that, 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Table name is the syntax, like we just give the syntax. Okay, and column name and data type, actually what kind of data it is going to hold inside it, comma, if you want to create column 2 and then data type. Okay, so like this we can create n number of columns in the table. Okay, So this is the syntax of the table. Then I can show you like how we can create a basic table. Create table. Student is my table name. Okay, I'm just going to what and all columns means I am just creating one ID, student ID. Yeah, maybe I can use to SID, STUID. Okay. What kind of data type means it is going to hold numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay. After that, I'm just going to give second column is student name, which is a varchar of type, means which is a string type 10. Okay, and then I'll just going to give the department, which department they're going to like they hold it. I'll just make this is also 10. I'll just increase the length to 100. Maybe the some students is having like more the length of the name. Okay, now I'm just going to give one more column is a marks. Okay, which is also integer type. Okay, so like what other columns we can make it. Yeah, for now I guess we can create like this. Okay, and then I'll just make, and then I'll just run the statement. Okay, I'm just selecting this, execute this one. Okay, now commands completed successfully. Okay, now if I go into this particular, right now we are in HR database. Okay, so if you look at here, this particular command was executed here in the HR database. Also if you can see here, so if you see here, like we can find which server were we, which login ID we used. Okay, which database is it. Okay, so whatever the query was run over here, it is going to executed in this particular database. Okay, now if I go to the HR database and then my tables, if I just like refresh and then expand. Okay, so previously we don't have any tables, now we just created one table. Okay, now I'm just going to create one more table, that is the maybe the department. Okay, so I'll just copy paste it and then I'll just create department. Okay, now I'm just creating like a DEPT ID. Okay, DEPT ID, department ID is integer, D name. Okay, just give the D name, which is a varchar of like 100, and then I'll just create yeah. Okay, that's it. Okay, for now these two columns are enough. Okay, if any other columns are required, then we can create it. Now select all and then execute this particular command. Okay, now previously we have only one table. Okay, if I go and then refresh the database or refresh the tables. Okay, now this one. Okay, now so we have two tables, one is student, one is department. Okay, this is the one. Okay, so we just created two tables. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the things like what is like basic commands, DDL, what is DDL, what is DML, what is DCL. Okay, what is TCL. Okay, so these kind of commands we can discuss. Okay, so here what is DDL means, this is a data definition language. Data definition language. Okay, after that DML means data manipulation language. Okay, so DCL means data control language. Okay. Data control language. So okay, after that the next one is transaction control language. So this is how like we can define the what kind of the objects are available in the SQL means. So DDL, DML, DCL and then TCL. Okay, what is DDL? DDL means data definition language, means so whatever the objects we are going to work, right, so only the definition of the data. Okay, the structure of the data, whereas DML means whatever the content was available inside the table, we are going to work on that. Okay, for example, if we create insert, then we are going to insert one row into the table. Okay, if you want to delete one row, then we are going to delete. If you want to update example like the student belongs to the CAC, then we can make them into the CEC department, then we are going to update. So these are the operations comes under the DML statements. Whereas DDL means create the table. Means we are not going to insert or delete or update any data inside the table. We're just creating the structure of the table. Okay, so that is a DDL. That is a create statement, drop statement, truncate statement, alter table, alter statement, and then drop, create, alter, drop, truncate. So I just remember that one. So if you have any other commands was there, then I can let you know. So DCL, data control language, means which is a select query. Okay, so every time we are going to use a select query for the tables, then we can display the language by using the select query. Okay, then transaction query language means here like we can use some begin transaction, end transaction. So all these like transactions will come into here. Okay, so these are the transactions. So this is the basic information about like what is the table, what is the view, what is stored procedure, what are synonyms, like how we can create the tables, like what kind of statements we are going to create in this particular SSMS, all these things we can. So in like in the coming sessions we are going to discuss about like a lot more about the SQL, and then I'll also like learn from you how we can get it, and from how we can improve the SQL Server concepts, and then the advanced concepts, everything we can learn, and then we can discuss in the upcoming sessions. In the next session, I'll just go into like what is DDL, how we can work it. Okay, we can write some kind of syntaxes also for DML, also for DCL, also for TCL, and then we can start with the DML, and then we can continue with the DML. So like this we can go and then continue to work with the real time data. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching.